I hope you're having a good time right now. Welcome, Gezitsu. It's your trainer, Jovan Ocheng. Now, today's topic is mouse actions and types. So we are going to talk about the actions that we perform on a mouse when you're operating using a mouse. And then we are going to talk about the types of mouse or the types of pointing devices that will help us to perform input of data in a computer system. Now, this topic will cover the essential mouse actions in every computer and for every computer users. And you should be able to know and explore different types of pointing devices. Now, the basic mouse actions that you see here, they will include pointing, clicking, and then double clicking. So to point is to move the mouse pointer to the desired spot on the screen. So if you want maybe to select an item, you will first point on that device. That is one. You point on that device. That is the first action. Now the second action is called clicking, whereby you are going to press and release the left button of the mouse, and you press it only once and release it. That's why we say click. So when somebody tells you click, you click by pressing the left button of the mouse once. This will help us to select an object or to position the cursor in a specific location within a document or within a list of items. Then the last action that you need to know is what you call double clicking. Double clicking is when you press the left button of the mouse twice, and then we do it at a very fast rate, quickly or rapidly. Pop, pop, pop. That is to double click. This will help us to open an icon or to execute a given command in a computer when you are doing some operation. So those are the work of pointing. We've talked about clicking, and then lastly we'll talk about double clicking. Then don't forget about that. I want to remind you again, we've said for double clicking you are to press the button of the left how many times? Twice, and then it is very quick. Are we together? Now that is for double clicking. For pointing is to move, and after moving you point to a specific or desired spot or item. Then clicking, just the same way. Then double clicking. That is it. Now the next thing that we are going to talk is about advanced mouse actions. Apart from clicking, pointing, and double clicking, there are some actions that will involve you will also be involved in when you are doing inputting using a mouse. The first one is to press. So to press is to hold down on the left mouse over an icon. So when you hold an item, you have already pressed, and you are not releasing. You just hold on that left button. Now utowi mkono yako. That is it. Then the second one is what you call to move. To move is that when you have hold that mouse and you are moving the item to a different location, you will be doing what we call you are dragging. So to move is to drag the object to a new location while holding on the button. That is what we call dragging. So you will press to hold down, and then while holding you are going to drag. To drag meaning that you are moving. Wonderful. Now another action is to release. So when you are going to release your item after you've hold and then you've moved, you've performed drag, then when you reach a desired location and you release, now you have performed what we call dropping. To let go the button, to drop the object into its new position. In summary, all these three actions that you've seen will form what you call drag and drop action with the mouse. Good. right clicking functionalities. So in the previous topic we talked about right clicking and what was to right click. What was the aim of right clicking, if you remember? Take a moment and reflect on this. The action of right clicking is to press the right mouse button once so that we can access the shortcut menu, or we can access the list of options. In this context, the menu will be provided so that we are selecting the items that we want or the commands that we want to execute. Now, what can you see on top there? What are they? Are they traffic lights? Something like a ball. What are they? Can you guess what they are? Okay. Have you ever seen some of them in any place that you have been interacting with in a computer system context? If yes, then let's enjoy this. Now, we have what we call traditional pointing devices. Traditional pointing devices, these are the trackballs that you can see there on top, and these trackballs, they have a movable ball on top, so that they will help us to navigate or to move the cursor in any direction within a computer. So the trackball is a movable ball on top of a stationary device. Like an upside down mouse, it is a protruding ball. So like the modern day mouse will always use a light technology on top of it, and this light technology will be taking pictures of locations where it is, so that it sends the signal where the pointer is within a given point, so that when you're moving, as it takes this 1500 pixel pictures, it is going to give the instruction on how to move the mouse. So previously, long ago, before some of us were born, or before some of us knew the computer, these are the technologies that we used instead of the light technology in the optical mouse. Now we used to interact with the trackballs so that we can move from one point to another. Another traditional pointing device is the pointing stick. The pointing stick will always look like a pencil or eraser. So this pencil eraser will help us to also point on devices, or even move the cursor or the pointers within different locations. They are mostly found in the computer laptops. And then we also have what we call the joysticks. Yes. Now this one is for our friends who love playing FIFA. I love playing FIFA. So that FIFA or that PlayStation gamepad that you always operate with, it has something that we always move with our fingers in any direction that is desired. So the example of a joystick is that gamepad, movable joystick. So in a gamepad, you are going to see something on top that looks like this, but you can move it with your fingers in any direction. It's a joystick. It's a vertical handle, like a gear shaft, and it is going to help us to play video games. So mostly FIFA and other PlayStation. If you have never played a game, then come and I show you how it looks like. Find time and look for me. Now, touch-based pointing devices. What do you mean by touch-based pointing devices? These are pointing devices that are operated with an aid of a touch technology. Remember, we talked about a touch screen sometimes back. Your phone is an example of a specialized input which performs both output and input activities. And the input activity that we perform in your smartphone is the touch-based activities, whereby we touch to give instructions. So example of a touch-based pointing devices is that touchpad within our laptops. the area where we operate. So most laptops don't have the normal traditional mouse, but they have what we call the touchpad or the trackpad, so whereby we can move or move the cursor using our own fingers and hands. It is just a small flat area surface where you slide your finger to move the cursor, and it contains the sensor to detect the movement. The other type of touch-based technology is what we call the light pen, and the light pen will always use a specialized pen. It contains a specialized pen, and this specialized pen contains a light sensitive cell on its tip, so that when you move, it connects by wire to a computer terminal. Lastly, we also have what we call the professional use of these light pens. They are normally used for advanced graphics, especially engineering and illustration in the illustrations. So the illustrators will always use the light pens for precise designs. Even during animation, when you want to draw cartoons and those other things, you are going to use the light technology so that you draw the images that will be played during those frames interchange. Now, the traditional mouse. This traditional mouse is leading us to a subtopic called the evolution of pointing devices. How did they start? We have a traditional mouse, which is the original pointing devices, with a mechanical ball, and later we went to what we call the optical mouse. So the traditional mouse will always have a ball on below it, and then when you move it, the ball will be rolling as it gives direction of the cursor within the screen. It later on advanced, and it was called optical technology and the optical mouse, where it has some light. Even if you try it right now and check below your mouse, you're going to see something that is lighting in a red color. That is an optical technology mouse that we are using. Now, this optical technology were later on integrated into a laptop, or this traditional mouse was integrated into a laptop. But now, when it came into a laptop, it was not called the mouse. The name changed to what we call the touchpad or the trackpad, and a pointing stick, which was designed for portable computing devices. So in most portable computing devices, you're going to find either a touchpad or the pointing stick with a touch technology. Now, we also have what we call the touch interfaces. An example is your smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, your neighbor's smartphone is a touch technology. So these touch interfaces, they will always give direction to when we are interacting with the screen, so that it eliminates or separates the pointing devices. And that's where we are going to. We are now getting out of the traditional mouse. We've gone to the trackpad. Right now we are now heading to the touch technologies. The computers for this generation, when you look at them very well on their screens, they are supporting touch technology, the touch interfaces. Lastly, we also have what we call the motion control technology. This is now the most current one. It has not yet been implemented full time because it is very new, and this one is helping us to perform what we call advanced systems, and it helps in detecting the hand movement without physical contact. So you can just move your hand without touching, and then the mouse is just moving. So that is what we call advanced motion control, the ones you see in movies. That being said, we have the factors that we consider when choosing the right pointing devices, and these are the factors. We choose the right pointing devices depending on the task requirement. Consider the precision and control needed for your specific work when you want to choose a pointing device. We also choose the right pointing device when it comes to what we call ergonomics. By ergonomics I mean choosing the device that minimizes the strain of your body during your computing experience. This will help us when you are performing a task in a very long period of time. So you look at the ergonomics. The third one is what we call the personal preference. You might prefer to use a touch screen, maybe due to your fantasy, maybe you like using touch screen. Somebody will prefer the motion control. Another person will just prefer the mouse, traditional mouse, the optical. And it depends with your individual comfort and familiarity when you are using. So we say go for what you can use more for efficient work to be done. Now, the last factor is the work environment. The work environment will also depict the type of pointing device that you want to use. Desktop setup will always differ from a mobile setup. In a desktop setup, we might be prone to use the traditional mouse, that is the either trackball or the optical mouse. In a mobile context, you might be found to be using either the keypad technology to navigate, or you can use what you call the touch screen technology, or even other specialized workstation that has specialized input options. So it goes with your preference. There are other factors that includes the price of the device, the durability, how long does it take to work efficiently, after what time does it get spoiled, and many others you can research about. That being said, thank you for your time. I am your trainer, Jovan Ochieng, and see you in the next topic. Have a lovely study time. God bless you.